Hey, this is Flamin' Hito bringing you guys another casual cast. Alright. It's between Jess and Running Bear. I don't know what kind of decks they'll be running. In case you don't know, casual cast is the one where I just make a lobby and ask for just 2 people to show up. So this isn't for a league or anything. This is just 2 random people being cast. And yeah, I can't really give more commentary until Running Bear loads his deck and they both set up. Oh, okay. Let me just right click. You got it. Woo. Alright. Moment of suspense and drama as we wait to see what kind of hands both kids are packing. Also, I noticed in my first casual cast that these numbers got kind of blurry for the person I wasn't clicked on, and if so, I apologize. We have, alright, we have on Andromeda, Running Bear, and Joss is alright, Engineering the Future. We see some big ice. We see an encryption protocol, which is kind of an interesting choice. I've never been a big fan of encryption protocol because, like, its trash cost, even when you res it, is only 3. So what stops people from just trashing the encryption protocol? Well, flaming. Oh, what's up? The Andromeda hand, we've got a contact straight away. But no source of link yet. A gamble is good. 3 data suckers. I imagine Running Bear will keep. The data suckers are redundant. And these kind of don't synergize with each other. You don't have the link to give it. A bank job is nice. I do an early remote. Otherwise, there's not too much going on with this hand. I guess it was just the corroder. He's really happy to be able to break, but an early corroder matters less against HB because Rototurret exists. The small hand. Oh god. Oh, well now he's going to get the bank job off, so that's lucky for Running Bear. Joss got a really bad pull here, where he got 2 Ichis in the opening, and Ichi is fucking horrific in the early game, because those 2 trashy programs are irrelevant until the program gets out. And that Trace one, after you've resed Ichi, you're probably poorer than the runner, so they can just let it fire. Especially Andromeda, who has a link, right? You just have, basically the Corp can spend an amount of money to make the runner spend that much as well. And assuming the runner is more richer, which currently right now, and if they res Ichi especially. So until she gets a program out, Jess is really not going to be enjoying these Ichis. And so Jess needs to hope that Running Bear ends up playing a Corroder or a Sucker here. I would probably discard a Sucker as Andromeda here to get the bank job off before he gets ice on this. Because he doesn't know what it is, and it could be an Adonis that gets some ice. So definitely in Running Bear shoes, I would play the bank job and run on 4. And just pitch a data sucker. You don't need 3 of them, you know. But we'll see what he does. He ran a data sucker instead. Oh, and then hit the R&D, and he's going to pitch another sucker. Yeah, I mean, that does get you the sucker token right away, but now he has to worry about Rototurrets and Ichis. And now we can't get that bank job money, so we'll see. Well, he might be able to. Like, it could just be this is like... He's probably thinking this is a pad or an Eve or something, and he'll still have that option to bank job. It's just, Adonis in particular, people like to ice an Adonis, you know? And if it's an Adonis, then that could mean ice is coming. But I suppose, given that R&D is currently open, it's a general kind of a safe read that this isn't going to get iced. So I guess I can see where Running Bear's coming from here. We're looking at Jess, who has 2 Adonises now. He can play an Ichi now, and it will actually do something. But he's going to use his Heimdall on his Eve campaign instead? I mean, that does stop the bank job like I was saying, but I would much rather Heimdall this Adonis than an Eve. Eve's got the trash cost and the lower value, making it less of a target. Adonis is the really big trash target, and that still isn't R&D. I'm a little confused by his choices here, I guess, but we'll see. Jess doesn't res. I've forgotten which one this is in particular. Okay, this is an Enigma. I don't know why he protected his hand over his R&D when he's got no agendas, but you never know. Oh, lost to the ASEC. That's a shame for him. Okay. definitely as running bear, I would try to get that bank job off. Just don't tempt fate anymore. Maybe bank job on 2, access it on 3, and then access again on 4. No, he's just going to keep blend running. I guess he doesn't care too much about his data sucker. Okay, I just can't afford that Heimdall quite yet. And yeah, Andromeda's gonna trash that Eve campaign over the other thing. Well, I'm surprised he's being so shy about that bank job. I generally get kind of worried that I'm going to lose the window of opportunity, but Running Bear seems pretty confident he'll always have a chance to fire it. And now the Adonis can get trashed, but yeah, unless he vipers it, which Andromeda has pretty decent link, but that would just be enough to make it inefficient for her to fight that Adonis. Yeah, and he is going to. So now he's kind of got this weird thing. The 2 semis, it's not a really Hospirate friendly strategy, but on the same side of things, it does mean that like he can have an agenda and an asset. Like he can set up 1 mega server and just leave 1 to be maybe just the Viper. So we'll see how that plays out for him. He still isn't dicing his R&D, and Andromeda isn't, you know, we'll get to feed her data sucker some more for free. But this is exactly what I was talking about, where I think she should have probably fired that bank job a little sooner than she ended up doing, because now she has ice to contend with. Of course, in this current chance, Josh doesn't have the money to res this Heimdall, but Running Bear doesn't know if that's a Heimdall or not. He's not going to force the first one. With that compromised employee pseudo-link, this is going to be, if he only does it by 3, Andromeda can get in for pretty cheap. Although he only needs to make Andromeda have to pay 2, and then Andromeda can't trash this. And I wonder if he's going to do that. Yep. That's 5, and Andromeda can get it to 2, so there's no way Andromeda can get through and trash the Adonis, so she may as well not. Of course, now the problem is Andromeda could just keep running this over and over, which is always the problem with Trace Ice. But it looks like she's going to hit R&D instead. Okay, if that wasn't an agenda, like, there's no point hitting again, this would probably be a decent window to bank job because Joss only has 1 credit. The only things he could res here are an Ice Wall or a Draco. But no, Running Bear's going to keep drawing and just keep sitting on that bank job. Maybe Running Bear is trying to save it as sort of a surprise nut shot, like bank job on 1, run on 2, and then have money for something Joss isn't seeing. I guess that's just kind of the fundamentally conservative side of me in the Netrunner thing, that if I've got a bank job, I like to cash it out as soon as I can, essentially. Trashing the Crypsis. Now that's really interesting, because that Rototurret vulnerability, every turn that Joss has 4 credits now, Running Bear can't really safely blind run because of Rototurret without that Crypsis. Okay, there's the Eli for HQ finally. Yeah, okay, Joss is definitely in a good spot. He got lucky that none of Andromeda's accesses were agendas, but still, you know, I'm surprised it worked so well for him kind of playing the both. Yeah, Andromeda has a pretty strong suspicion this is Eli, so she can do it just to force the 2 comp creds and do it, because she just saw that Eli, and it's a shame. Joss actually could have gone for a really big kind of surprise attack by playing the Ichi there after Andromeda had just seen the Eli, but of course Eli is better for the R&D, and I guess Joss wanted that fundamental instead of just the surprise trashing of a single data sucker, which, like, I probably agree with him in that sense. I'm just kind of pointing out to you guys it's another option she had. Now there's an R&D interface we can't get through. He does have Corroder, but Corroder against Eli, with the data sucker, it'll cost him 2 in access, and then every other access he'll need to hit some, like, archives. So now he's going, like, a flat, and he's doing Adonises. This is one of those things, I can definitely see the value of it now, but, what happens, like, when those are out and you don't need all those? Then your ice is kind of, you know, placed where you don't want it, I guess. I don't like going so horizontal as HB, and I would have saved its archives because the sneak door surprise threat isn't a big threat without any agendas, and just, I would have saved that for a turn when he wouldn't have otherwise gotten his install cred. Like, he got 3 installations out of the way, and he won't be installing much again for a while. And so I probably would have just, in Joss's shoes, saved this installation for a turn when, like, he had done 2 other things. It's like, I'm not going to get my install cred unless I do this. Okay, he didn't res that ice, and Andromeda just trashed that face down Adonis campaign. This is an Ichi, right? No, what is this again? Ice wall. I don't know why he didn't res that ice wall. I would have in his shoes. Because like I said, this lateral thing is only really helping him now to try to rush those Adonises. It wouldn't have helped him, you know, it's not going to help him as much in the future to be kind of so flat like this. So I would have thought at least the benefit of going flat would have been to res this ice wall now and protect this Adonis. I guess I'm not really sure what Jess's master plan is. We're going to have to just watch the game unfold and see what he does, but I don't see why he wouldn't have res that ice wall. As a matter of fact, Running Bear does have a corroder, but, you know, Joss doesn't know that, so I still would have in his shoes. And there's the run on HQ. This is an Enigma. I assume he's going to res. Well, his hand is empty, yeah. He gets a sucker token, but I guess if his hand is empty, he's saving that. I guess maybe what Jazz is doing is trying to threaten a Rototurret as much as he can, but only when Andromeda gets another program out. I guess his rationale is something like, I want to delay her corroder. How can I delay her corroder? By not resing any of this ice, so she really fears... There's the bank job. Oh, now we can res that ice wall. Just mess with her for laughs. It's not going to be as good, but saving the thing. But yeah, it's just funny. He's gonna... This is a Heimdall, though, so I assume Jess is going to get to pull it off still at some point. But anyway, yeah, I'm guessing that's what Jess is up to then. Is just trying to, like, threaten a corroder by making it so Running Bear knows as little about the ice as possible. And then once he's got a program besides that, hit sucker. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and see, now the bank job is going to be a lot harder. He either has to play out his corroder now, or he's got to muscle through the Viper Trace to get bank job money. So, yeah, he delayed on that bank job, and it's going to kind of hurt him now. I don't know what Jazz's plan is here. He's kind of like going nice and flat. It looks like he's running one of those decks that risks ABT. ABT, like, on your last click is always kind of dangerous because you can just pitch agendas. But it looks like he's running one of those decks that just has, like, absurd quantities of ice and makes it a little more safe. I mean, he's got, what, 8 pieces of ice on the field, 2 in his hand. So, it's 10 pieces of ice out of his first... Is that 10 cards, basically? I know, because there's some in the trash, but... I think he was actually a little bit over 49. I didn't think to check at the beginning, but 39 in his deck, 4 in his trash, 43, and then in his hands, 46, and then on the field was 10, did I say? 8. So, yeah, it looks like he's running 53 cards or something like that. A Dyson Mem Chip. Why a Dyson Mem Chip now? Oh, I see, because he wants to turn on contacts. Okay. Oh, because he won't lose the click now. And he's got the 2 compromised employees. Okay. So Jazz has to... That's pretty clever. That's a clever way to get the bank job off. Oh, now he's got the 2 employees. Yeah, if he does it neutrally, then Running Bear gets in for free and just gets the bank job money. So he did get it off in the end. Good for him. Played it a little bit riskier than I would have liked, but he got it done. Okay. Jazz has a flare out, and he tipped for... So I guess his plan is to, like, ice pad campaigns a little bit, kind of stuff like that. Like, just enough to make you kind of work for it. And, that's a false lead in the second one. Okay. That works pretty well. I can kind of see, we kind of like doing the never advance thing, but with Haas Bioroid. That's an interesting gimmick. Yeah, and because this pin now, this could be Ichi or Rototurret, so Andro can't just play a corroder and run, because she's got no idea if this is going to trash it or not. But she's going to do it anyway. That's risky. And is this an Ichi? I think it is, actually. Yeah. He can... Oh, but he can win the trace. So we can click out... That was click 3, not 2. Yeah. Does the trash any... Yeah. There we go. I was just saying it, and that's what happened. And I didn't even know for sure it was an Ichi, but that's definitely the problem with doing that. And there's no way he's gonna, yeah, try to do the link at all. So, good job for Jess. He's gonna, I assume, write his pad campaign and maybe score that false lead, but that's the problem with not watching out for Trashers. That could have been a Rototurd just as well as an Ichi, so there were a lot of things he had, and I really don't understand why a Running Bear pitched his Crypsis in that scenario. One option that is available to Running Bear is to just R&D interface and click through Eli every turn. As it happens, it won't work for long, because Jess does happen to have a nice big meaty flare or a Rototurd he can put there. But from someone who doesn't know that Jess's hand is full of fucking ice, it might be kind of a good idea to I don't know why it's not resing that bad. Trying to force one run on it first for surprise value, I guess. Yeah, but I mean R&D interface and just clicking past Eli, you know, it's gonna get him some things and at least force Jess's hand. Okay, remember when I saw that encryption protocol? I didn't understand it. I understand it a lot more now when he's going for kind of like the sideways. Everything takes some effort, and then he plays it like never advance NBN, where he doesn't advance it the first turn, he plays it down. So you don't know if you're running on a pad or an encryption, and then that's presumably why he hasn't rezzed his pad either. I bet his deck must have like 3 Eves, 3 Adonises, and some encryptions, 3 pads, something like that. Running Bear's on HQ. There's still nothing. I'm surprised actually he's so agenda light so far, because he's running at least one false lead, so he's not doing the thing where he just runs a bunch of 3-pointers to run a few of them. Yeah, we're just kind of luck of the draw that he didn't get it then. What is this? He targeted Ichi. Oh, to shut down. Okay. Oh, he must be sure that's an agenda. He's unfortunately mistaken, because because now he can't res the Ichi and the inside job's that, but it was just for an Adonis. He did kill it. So yeah, that's the advantage of this archetype, is you make them waste tools like inside job when they can't really see, like they can't know in advance, because you play your agendas the same way you play your assets. That was pretty clever. It was kind of dangerous to not sure gamble for Andromeda before she spent all of her money. But I suppose she didn't know she was going to be spending all that money. She thought it might have been a, what was this? Oh, it's an encryption protocol. He's trying to force another, he's trying to force another inside job, it looks like. Well, now Running Bear needs to draw. There's just no way around it. Could have a snare or something. There's the fairy. A little too late to save his Croter, but that's the kind of thing you do want. If I was in Running Bear's shoes, I'd make my first priority getting that gamble up, so I've got a bit of a nest egg to work with. Maybe draw to 5 and then start clicking for cred. Let the contacts help me out. Gamble ASAP. And then, like I said, I would probably just get R&D interface and click through Eli until he doesn't have the money to, until he gets something bigger to stop you. Especially with a Sentry to play backup, so you can't get owned really hard. There's an accelerated beta test, like I was saying. I could kind of tell from the ice that he's running, he must have one. It's not safe for him to play it this turn, but if he keeps in his hand, he will finally have to res the stuff on HQ, which he's been enjoying not to do. So from his perspective, it must be kind of a hard sell. Of course, what he doesn't know is that Running Bear has a Siphon in his hand, and will probably be firing it soon. What was this again? This was... Huh. That's kind of a waste of the big flare. I would have maybe put it in R&D. Although in general, I don't know if I would use this flare at all. Maybe he's just bluffing he doesn't intend to res it. Because it's a Trace 6, which sounds really cool on paper, but 1, 2, and 4 compromised employee pseudo-creds. It's already only a 2 advantage trace for the Corp. And, it's only going to get worse. Andromeda presumably has multiple things that give Link to help turn on contacts. Presumably a 3rd compromised employee. In fact, we know there's a 3rd compromised employee But Jazz should just be able to guess it because you wouldn't run just 2 of them in an Andromeda deck. And yeah, that flare trace is actually kind of a liability, so I'm not sure if Jazz is going to res that flare at all. So I guess I take back it belonging on R&D. It belongs as kind of a bluff server. Okay, there's the fairy. Good job. He's not going to get the gamble off, which means if he spends his money to like trash an Adonis or something in his hand, then he's going to start crawling all the way back up to get that gamble. Yeah. I don't know. Now that he can't bluff turrets as bad, he's just going to res one and make him lose the fairy. Yeah, that's smart. Then he's still bluffing turrets elsewhere. And he does have the 1 Ichi on tap. He's going to break it with fairy. And then trash it. Yeah, he's got ABT Fans to protect. Of course, now this does create the money swing where he can get the gamble off. Thanks to the 2 reses and the compromised employees. Oh, he wants to trash the pad. I would have let the pad sit another turn just to finally get this sure gamble off. You know? I suppose the contacts, never mind the contacts. He'll be down to 4 and then contacts will get him to 5 and he could still gamble next turn. Oh. But not now. Hee hee hee. Now he'll need to click for cred once as well to fire his gamble. Jazz is in a really safe spot. This is safe. Andromeda's just been slow getting her rig up, and she trashed her Crypsis, which I run a kind of similar. I run a really DRS focused Andromeda deck, but I would not trash my Crypsis in it. Crypsis is kind of the lifeblood of it, and I'm kind of starting to get the feeling that the Crypsis is the lifeblood of Running Bears too, and he kind of just trashed it without thinking too much about it. One thing to note is that Jazz has a lot of ice. He can't really keep his promise on a lot of this ice. You know, Running Bear only needs to force 1 res somewhere, and then Jazz is out of Roto Turret Ichi range. He's out of Ichi range already now. Actually, he's only at 4. Ooh, another contact. That's good for him. I would click for cred, gamble, and then pay the contact. And we'll see what Running Bear actually does. Jazz has a lot of like ice on the field, but he can't really be held to all of it at once. So I know it looks kind of bleak for Running Bear at this stage, but that's something to think about. Is definitely Running Bear can swing this around pretty easy, especially with something like an account siphon. If he can get the tools to break these, which he'll have to find another one of his Crypsies, unfortunately, or get breakers for each, he's gonna put that probably behind the flare. This was, yes, wall static. Probably, you put this behind the flare, he won't bother resing the flare if the guy runs on it. No, he's putting it in his Heimdall server. That's interesting, because that's a really big server. And then, what's this? And he put ABT in the Viper. He's going for big mind games. Viper is by far the easiest server for Running Bear to break here. And putting the ABT there, he must be trying to signal that it is a pad campaign or something. And power to him. It kind of looks like the bluff was working. It's definitely more of a daring bluff than I would have gone for, but that's kind of the fun thing about Netrunner is the different style between really tactically conservative players like me. I'm very, very focused on the tactical, and I don't generally do bluff except for blind like forks like the Ghost Branch Bounty Fork, where they're like functionally indistinguishable. But this guy's much more of a poker bluff kind of player, and it definitely paid off for him, at least in this case. And it's always fun to see the kind of clash of thoughts in this case between the player in the game and the guy commenting on it. It's worth noting now, Running Bear is halfway through. He has his Mimic out now. He just needs to get either a Yogg or whatever decoder he's running, or another Crypsis, and he is then able to start hammering this HQ, which means, among other things, that he'll get his Siphon off. Is he going to finally R&D interface and try clicking through? Maybe he was waiting for Jazz not to have snare money. Oh. I'm going to go hide Steam now. Or I guess I'll just leave it open here and then it shouldn't pop up. I always forget to turn off Steam when I'm casting. Yeah, because of course, if he clicks through anything but click 1, then he can't shake any tags after. So he maybe was just waiting for Jas not to have snare money. I wasn't following every turn specifically, so I don't know if that's exactly what he was doing, but that could be one reason for why he waited to do the R&D and click through Eli for so long. Maybe just waiting for Jas to be low enough money that he can't get an Ichi threatening it next turn because of the ice tax. It'll pay the ice tax, gain the install, he'll be at 2, and then he clicks for 3-4. This is another encryption protocol for those of you at home. Yeah, as an Ichi, which is good for there, but it's one more turn where we can't do it, and maybe that was the signal Running Bear was waiting for, to at least get 2 turns. Oh, actually, no! He's got 6 sucker tokens, so he doesn't even care about Ichi anymore. He can just spend once to get Ichi down to Mimic's level. So, I think he might just be trying to, yeah, force this. Ooh, he's going to FAO kill the Ichi. That's pretty classy. He can't get through this turn now, but he can definitely hammer really hard. I would have played my 3rd CE, just in case there was something cheap enough to res with FAO, like an Ice Wall. Then he would have gotten 3 creds instead of 2. But that's just sort of a personal thing. Another interface. And next turn, he could, like, easy mark this turn. And then next turn play that interface, and then go through 2 with enough money to trash stuff. It looks like he'd rather just draw up, though. Jas does have an Ice Wall, which is a perfect thing for his R&D right now. I can't imagine him not playing Ice Wall on his R&D. Oh, he's going to tip first. Okay. Well, now he's kind of at a loss. He's got a lot of cards he wants to do stuff with all of a sudden. He's going to play his pad down. And, he's going to hedge fund with that cred. That was pretty classy. He didn't need to click for cred for it. And he'll trash his Heimdall, which, after my little rant on Flare here, I would have trashed Flare. Like I said, just, that trace is so leaky right now for him. Andromeda's got 2 Link and the 2 pseudo creds. The definite chance to get up because running a full suite of contacts suggests that she's not just relying on this one Dyson mem chip to give her any Link. And even if that doesn't happen, he can just sucker it for 3 and Mimic. So I definitely would have trashed the Mimic, or the Flare over the Heimdall in Jas's shoes. Okay, Running Bear's going to play that interface and then run. He did an easy mark, so he can't trash too much that he finds, but he can still get 3 agendas, so... like I said, I'm surprised Jas didn't Ice Wall's R&D last turn. I'm sure he's going to do it this turn, though. Make Running Bear have to find a second Corroder, especially because it costs influence. He may only be running that run Corroder. I know I do in my Andro deck, and what that means is because he lost it from the trash, it'll be a Crypsis, which will slow down immensely him running on R&D if his Crypsis is his Fractor. Ooh, he got a priority wreck. Good shot for Running Bear. And he got an ABT. Well, now the game suddenly swinged massively in Running Bear's favor in terms of agenda points. Jas is certainly not out, though. He just needs to get some ice here. I would say Ice Wall, because Ichi is now pretty compromised with his Data Sucker. It's a damn shame he lost his Heimdall, actually. He trashed it, and I think a Heimdall is absolutely what he wants here. Eli will be fine, too. I would probably play Eli before the Ice Wall, but maybe even both in his shoes here. Okay. He's going to do the pad campaign because he forgot to auto-res. Yep. Yeah, he said no problem. Everyone on Octagon says no problem. If you do have a problem with that, you're kind of a dickhead. Like, if they just forgot to do it before and nothing. So is that... Yeah, that's the Eli. In his shoes, I would put an Ice Wall there as well. He has no more time to fuck around. And actually, he's just 1 Dakota away from his hand being compromised. Maybe Ice Wall his hand instead, but definitely one of the 2. No! That second remote. Okay, and he wants to just put that there to keep it safe. I guess that's... there's still the chance that a snap to a Yogg has a 1/3 chance of making him lose, but he would rather just have the agenda to score, the remote to score him safely, which I guess is understandable. I definitely see... I've not been a fan of Encryption Protocol, but this is definitely... I'm seeing its use in this kind of archetype, which I don't see that often. I definitely am getting a lot more respect for Encryption Protocol, with the idea that you've got a lot of light ice. Because I was thinking you can't play it naked, and you don't want to protect it as... Why didn't he res that Eli? Why wouldn't he res the Eli there? This dude's going to get 3 accesses. And, yeah, only one of them... Yeah, he drew the 1 card that you already seen. Yeah, and he won the game. I have no clue why Jas wouldn't res the second Eli. That is a deep, deep mystery to me. But there we go. That's the game. We saw kind of an interesting take on Haas Bioroid, and I think it's something that might be worth trying out. The lightly licing to make Encryption Protocol a lot stronger, And I guess I just don't really agree with some of Joss's choices not to res.